Yael Jagbeer, thanks for joining us. Quick question to start it off. How long have you known Shericka Jackson?
I have known Shericka for about 11 months now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, was this the first time that you were treating her?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
good. So here's my first question off the bat. You know, when she came to you last September, how bad a shape was she in?
Well, it was pretty severe because if I would touch the area, it was painful and she was unable to continue her season because of the pain that she was in. And also she'd have pain with warming up and things like that. So it was pretty severe when she came to me initially.
If have you treated similar injuries and how severe was hers compared to others of a similar nature that you would have treated?
Okay, so I have, hers wasn't, I had a patient that had stress fractures and needed to do surgery. So that was the extent of severity that I've seen. But hers, if it wasn't treated properly, it could have led to her doing surgery to her shins. So it was right on the cusp of getting to that point of severity that she would need to do surgery eventually in some time.
Okay, and had she not treated those injuries, she would not have been able to go to Tokyo. In fact, she would not have been able to go to the trials in June.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so take me through the process of how you began the process of getting her healthy enough to first of all go to the national championships, because in the grand scheme of things, it was much time for you to get that kind of injury healed. So take me through that process and what was it like in terms of the challenges that you faced initially as your physiotherapist, and of course when things eventually started to get better.
Okay, sure. So we started treatment in September. So the first day she came for assessment, we started immediately. So the good thing is she wasn't training at that time. So I had between September to November to really put in a lot of work because I knew once she started to train, I wouldn't be able to go as hard as I was going before because I have to take into consideration that she's training and these things like that. So within the first 3 months between September to November, we were doing very intense work, some pool therapy, land-based therapy. I was also doing treatment modalities to promote healing for the stress fractures. So once November came, she started to ease back into training and we continued doing the work, just with a little bit more modification, just to help her as she did training. And then in December, she did an X-ray. And the X-ray showed that they are seeing signs of healing. And that was the first time she had seen healing in the shin from when it started in 2019. So that was over a year. That was the first time she started seeing healing. So that was really great and promising. So we continued working straight up, like just again modifying because, she's training. So I have to communicate, say, what you did in training today, how was training today? So I will know how to tailor my treatment for her. And we just continued working and being consistent. And Shericka works very, very hard. Her work ethic is impeccable. She just pushes. And, it was a good communication. It was a good team effort. And then in April, she did another X-ray. So by this time now, the pain in the shin started to really subside. She was able to sprint. She was able to do a little bit more of some plyometrics. So when she went to the repeat X-ray in April, it showed no signs of fractures. Now that is amazing. That's a miracle because for those fractures to heal while she's actually training, it's really amazing. So that was pretty much what we did, just intense work tailored to her, and things just to make it better as best as possible.
Well, you actually lead me right into my next question because training means that she's going to be pounding on those legs, meaning that the shins are going to be taking a lot of beating during that time. How did you manage that? What was the advice that you gave her to allow her to be able to manage that? Because you're running over distances, you're doing drills that require her legs to be slamming into the ground at several hundred pounds per square inch.
Yes.
So you're healing while you're beating up on the shins as well. Help us to understand that process though.
Yeah, so the good thing is that I was in collaboration with her trainer at MVP. So we were able to say, okay, this is kind of, we need to ease off of this now, or they were telling me what was being done and what modifications they were doing in training too. So it really worked well hand in hand because they were modifying her training in order for her to not pound too much while we were still working on the shin. So it was a team effort.
Okay, cool. So you said that by April, there was no signs of the fractures anymore, which means that she had April, May, June to at full health almost to get to that level where she was able to run 10:77 at the national championships. Were you surprised at her progress after April, given the work that had gone in to ensure that she stayed healthy?
I wasn't surprised because I felt it. I knew based on the work ethic that she displayed, I knew that things would have been great. Like, I just felt it. So I was happy. I was excited when it happened, but I was like, I knew it. And the thing is, we have set goals. So we were working towards these goals. So when these things happen, it's like, all right, okay, the things are happening. And we just continue to set different goals as we achieved the different time goals that she had set.
Okay, so, once she's beginning to, because she's into her macro cycle while she's doing this rehabilitation work, were you concerned any at all whether or not the injuries would reoccur, given the work that she would have to do to get into that kind of shape? Were you worried that the extra stress on her shins would eventually yield to some kind of other injury or the other or related injury?
No, because of my initial assessment, I figured out what were the contributing factors to the shin have been in that position. So it was really just continuing what we were doing, maintaining and just continuing to strengthen. So I knew once we did all those things, it would protect the shin, and then her biomechanics and all those things would have been improved, which then would lead to the shin not having to, be fractured again.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, of course, some of the work that went in. Did it involve anything like, her doing work in the swimming pool to take the stress off of the shins, or give us a little bit more detail as to what work went in and what was involved in that work?
Sure. Okay, so we did do pool-based therapy or hydrotherapy and land-based. So basically working the core, like everything from the hip straight to the big toe, literally, because everything is connected. So we did a lot of pool work, we did a lot of strength work in the pool, like some plyometrics, because she wasn't able to do any plyometrics on land. I was able to translate that into the pool so that she can still be able to do those things. And of course, doing it in the deeper end of the pool, which would not cause any stress on the shins itself. And then the land-based therapy, just basically strengthening sports-specific to her events, working on every aspect of her race, going around the corner, starts, all those things that I knew that the shin would have, place some pressure on the shin, that we just tried to strengthen it so that when she starts to run again, it wouldn't affect her.
And of course, in Tokyo, she had to run on a pretty hard track. Brand new, of course, hard as nails, because we saw the fast times there. 10:76, a brand new personal best, in the 100 where she ran a bronze medal. She ran a 4x4 relay, and she ran, of course, one round of the 200, as well as the 4x1 relay where she won gold. Do you worry about whether or not those injuries will reoccur, or is it a consistent process now where you're constantly monitoring her progress and to prevent any further injury?
Yes, definitely. So even though she was in Europe, we still did Zoom sessions. And when she was in Tokyo, we still communicated, okay, she's like, this is happening, that's happening. I was able to advise her from here, and also, liaison with the physiotherapists that were in Tokyo to kind of just keep things, in check. But based on our communication, she was feeling fine, she was good. So just moving forward now, we're just going to continue to put in the work.
All right, cool. So was it a linear process, or were there challenges along the way that you had to modify what you were doing to ensure that she would eventually heal?
Yeah, definitely. With everything, you're going to have the ebbs and flows. As you're training, little things are going to come, little niggles are going to come up here and there. So sometimes you may have to shift focus to one place, but not forgetting the shin, but just something came up as priority, like, okay, let's work on this and then work on the shin. But definitely the shins were always like top priority when we did any work, and just strengthening the entire, hip complex and all these things. But, and everything, we were able to navigate through the challenges together as a team. And the important thing is that we communicated all the time, so we were able to alter anything.
And finally, your reaction when she did what she did in Tokyo, of course, medals all around, outstanding performances. I'm sure there's a sense of fulfillment on your part, having seen that success.
Yes, I actually got really emotional because I knew, like, I was like, yeah, I was just so happy to see everything just come together for her. It was really, really amazing to see and to watch and to witness. Even when I was at the national trials, seeing her run, I was like elated. It was really, I can't put into words how proud and how excited I am for the future that is in store for her.
Tell me, do you have any other famous clients?
Well, I actually did Ronald Levy's rehab for him to get back because he also had injuries. So Ronald Levy, Shelly and Fraser Price, Shanika Ricketts, Megan Tapper, also there was Asafo, Nestor, Daniel Thomas Dodd, Julian Ford, Travis Michael, and Shadi Williams from Barbados.
Okay, in a very impressive clientele. Of course, keep on doing what you're doing, and of course, we owe you a debt of gratitude for getting Shericka back in shape to allow her to do what she did for Jamaica.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.